Hey, Cruise Team, welcome back to Coach Cruise. I am your host, Brad. And anyway, we have two big stories in cruise news we're going to highlight today. There is a spirit haunting Carnival, and yes, I'm sure you can guess what I'm referring to. It is still in the news, and again, Carnival just wants it to go away, but it won't. So we will discuss what exactly that article was talking about. Also, there's a Grammy award-winning artist that has announced they will be performing on a cruise ship. Who is the artist and what cruise ship will they be performing on and when? You'll find out right after this.
I just can't get away from a good time.
Okay, so let's get to our feature story that K5 News came out with. And anyway, the one of the big headlines within their story is, "Should I cruise this summer?" And they go on to give you a lot of the scary, thoughts of, is it safe to cruise? And there's health experts that say you're more likely to get COVID, in a closed space like a cruise ship and this and that. And they almost seem to contradict themselves within the article by providing statistics that, the CDC recommends in correlation with cruise ships and tracking the COVID virus on the cruise ships. Now, most of you have heard about this tracking system that they have that the cruise lines can opt into, but let's review it. So there are 91 cruise ships that have opted into, from the major cruise lines that have opted into this tracking system. Now, if you have a designation of green, if the cruise ship has a designation of green, that means that 0 cases of COVID have been reported on the ship. A yellow designation would mean that less than 0.3% of total passengers and crew are positive for COVID-19. Level orange would mean that 0.3% or more of total passengers and crew are positive for COVID-19. And then red would be more than 0.3% of total passengers and crew are positive, and there's been sustained transmission, conditions are overwhelming, onboard medical and health resources and variants of concern have been found in onboard cases. This is why it's such a concern for the Carnival Spirit. If you believe the passenger accounts that were reported by the news just yesterday, the Carnival Spirit was in fact overwhelmed. And with over 100 cases, I'm pretty sure that'd be more than 0.3%. So is there a chance the Carnival Spirit could go to code red and be the only ship out of 91 that is in code red? I think based on what I just read to you there and how the CDC refers to these things, I think that that's a very real possibility. Now, will that happen? I have no idea. But again, I'm just reading you exactly as it's stated by the CDC there. Now, getting to my own personal opinion, if that means anything, 0.3%, okay? And you heard the number of ships. Well, let's just go through that actually. So of the 91 ships, 15 are in the green category. That means 15, not a single case of COVID has been reported. 15 ships. Now, 14 are in the yellow category. That means that less than 0.3%. Then you get into the orange, and that could be more than 0.3%. But the thing about it is this. Okay, so the Carnival Spirit, that's the bad story lately, right? Now, there were 100 cases reported, and it's most of these people that were confined to their cabins were confined for a long time, right? Have you heard of a single person being in serious condition as a result of the COVID? And I know all the people that want to call COVID a flu and everything else like that. But I mean, the fact is, millions, over 1 million people have died from COVID. So it's not a laughing matter. What that tells me is that the vaccination, because all these people are vaccinated, right? The 100 people that had COVID, they were all vaccinated. But the thing is it seems that it might have been only like a cold to most of them, because there's been no reported major health issues. Just people being positive of COVID and, flu-like symptoms or cold-like symptoms, and that's it. So do I feel it's safe to cruise? Well, based on that example, I think absolutely yes. I mean, could you get COVID on a ship? Yes. I mean, but if you are vaccinated, is there a risk, a big risk that you're probably going to die? Well, I mean, if you use this Carnival Spirit that had over 100 cases and not one single report of a major health issue, then, I think you're going to be okay. And I mean, I hate to say this because, somebody inevitably won't be okay. And then somebody's going to throw it back to me and say, hey, remember that video you said somebody you're going to be okay? I'm saying, in the big overwhelming numbers or whatever. I mean, I don't know how many people exactly are going to cruise this summer, but I'm just saying, of all the people that might get COVID, I think the chances of anybody getting seriously ill and passing away that are vaccinated are probably very slim, unless they have some serious underlying conditions, which, I mean, the CDC has obviously recommended that people in those conditions, probably it would be wise to not cruise. I mean, if you have a lot of underlying conditions, then COVID, even vaccinated, probably does become, more of a risk or whatever. So that's just my 2 cents. And again, I wanted to report the news, but also give it the spin because, I feel like a lot of times these cruise lines get thrown under the bus, and the major news outlets try to make it seem like if you go on a cruise ship, you're a crazy person or something, because how could you, because of the COVID, and you're going to get COVID for sure and everything else like that. The fact of the matter is, you probably won't. And if you do, it's probably not going to be that big a deal. So, I mean, that's just my personal opinion. So, I mean, if you're completely the other way, then again, don't shoot me. Just my opinion. We can agree to disagree, right? Okay. Now, in more positive, less debatable news, we have a Grammy award-winning artist that announced today, just in the past couple of hours, that they would be performing on a cruise ship. And it's going to lead me to another segment that we'll get to in just a minute. But who is this Grammy award-winning artist? That would be the one Kelly Clarkson. Now, what ship is she going to be performing on? Well, some of you may know that she is affiliated with Norwegian. So she's going to be performing for Norwegian on their brand new ship, the Prima. Now here's where it gets even better. As many of you may have, heard this week, it's Teacher Appreciation Week. She's going to be performing on the inaugural out of Galveston on the Norwegian Prima. And the date is October 27th through the 31st, 2022. And that's just amazing. I mean, she really spoke out today about the, let's just read a little bit of it here for you. In honor of Teacher Appreciation Week, which ran from Monday to Friday, the singer and TV host concluded a week-long on-air celebration recognizing educators on her program, The Kelly Clarkson Show. On today's episode, she announced that she would be joining Norwegian's Giving Joy winners on Prima and perform during the ceremony that will honor 100 top teachers from across the United States and Canada. The annual Giving Joy program celebrates teachers for their dedication to inspiring students each day, and so far has awarded 130 teachers with free cruises and over 185,000 Great Job Norwegian to schools since 2019. This year, 100 teachers across the U.S. and Canada will win an exclusive cruise aboard Norwegian Prima during its inaugural 5-day sailing from Galveston, Texas, from October 27th through the 31st. of 2022. So that's going to be an amazing cruise for all of those teachers. And that brings me to the final segment. Yesterday, if you watched my cruise news, you saw that, I'm sorry, 2 days ago, I recommended one teacher, and I said I'd be recommending a couple more. So the second on that list is a teacher by the name of Michele Hebert, Hebert, and out of Louisiana. And anyway, I know her. She is a wonderful person, very caring, very supportive. She is a mother and a grandmother. She's been teaching for over a decade. I think it was 12 years. She's also a coach. She coaches multiple sports. She's taught physical science. She's taught English. She's been commended for her level and quality of teaching within Louisiana. And like I said, knowing her personally, she would be a very worthy candidate for your vote. Now, I'm going to put the link to her directly so you can vote for her within the description of this video. So I hope that you'll take the time to do that, and maybe you can make her one of those lucky 100 people to get a cruise on the Prima. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free to vote. And like I say, maybe once you do that, you can find out more about it, and maybe there's a teacher that you would like to nominate and potentially help them win a free cruise. The voting runs obviously, now through, I think it's June 2nd or June 3rd, something like that. So there's still plenty of time to vote. But again, I'll put that link in the description, and hopefully you'll take the time to help somebody out. And I can tell you that Michele is a very worthy candidate, and you would make her so happy. And I tell you what, if you do, if we get Rachel, Michele, or Amanda, I think Amanda is pretty much going to be a lock. She's way up there. We'll talk about her on the next video. But Rachel and Michele, they definitely could use a little help to get boosted up in the ratings, because they got some distance to make up. And again, you'd be helping them out a lot. So that's all I have for you today, cruise team. I hope you enjoyed the news today, and I look forward to talking to you next time. Until then, take care.
I just can't get away from a good time.